Welcome back.
Hi! Great to see you all. Thanks for joining us today. This is our next live. What month are we in now? October. How many have we done of these now? Gosh.
A good few. We've had really positive feedback, so thank you everyone for that. So I'm China. I've kind of escaped it the last couple of times, but great to be back on the panel with these lovely two.
Oh, I'm Heather. Hello. Look at that. Not ready at all.
I'm Hannah. And we're all on the East Cornwall and West Devon Crohn's and Colitis UK committee. We don't have any medical specialists today, so everything we say is just our personal experience of having the illnesses. So it would be really great to touch base with some people out there who have maybe been through the same thing. So what we say isn't medically trained or anything, it's just experience.
So don't hesitate to drop any comments or questions below. We've got a couple to kind of get started with, but we'd love to hear from you guys, so don't hesitate to get commenting and chatting away in the comments box, please.
Yes.
Should we say hi to Shaz and Danny behind the camera there?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, first question. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease early this year, and I'm worried about how I will cope with Christmas.
Okay, shall I? Did I kick off
Yes.
on that one? Okay, obviously I don't know which bit of Christmas you're concerned about. One of the bits that I always find quite difficult is the amount of food that seems to be everywhere, and kind of like you go out for a Christmas meal with work or whatever, and it's like a 3-course meal and all these kind of things, and it's always a set menu and all these kind of things, and you don't want to be the person who goes, oh well, can I have it without this, or no, what is the exact veg that comes with it, or whatever. But I've had this quite a while now. I just find that people are a lot more understanding than you think they'd be, and kind of like your anxieties about your illness actually aren't necessarily other people's anxieties, and people actually often want to help, and you don't have to kind of go up to the organiser and go, oh, I need you to do this, this and this. Sometimes you can do a quiet call to the restaurant and just go, oh yeah, I've got this and this. One of my friends who used to be on the committee actually, she is a celiac, and she just makes a call to the restaurant, and most restaurants have got kind of like gluten-free menus, egg-free menus, all kinds of different menus that you don't realise because they don't give them out as their normal menus because they're not as pretty. So that's food. I don't know if anyone wants to answer anything about like the social things or anything to do with Christmas.
Well, I always think about Christmas drinks. The amount of times where you get invited out for like Christmas drinks, and actually I know for me, sometimes I have to be so careful with what I actually drink that can cause me a little bit of anxiety. She says with a glass of wine in front of her.
Let's just take a minute to think about that.
Well, it depends on whether I'm well. I'm well at
Exactly.
the moment, so it means that I can drink it, so it makes it,
It's alright, we're not judging you. That's fine.
But yeah, if I'm having a bad day, then automatically my mind goes to, oh my goodness, I can't join in. But why can't I join in? Why can't I go for Christmas drinks and have a lemonade? Why does it have to be alcohol? Why can't it just be a glass of water? It doesn't necessarily have to be alcoholic, or it's completely down to you. And well, like Hannah says, the people that you're with are usually understanding, so they're not going to turn around to you and go, oh, here you go, and you think, oh no, I can't have that, and then they force you into drinking it. That's not going to happen, is it?
My favourite trick is to ask for a soda, maybe lime, depending on how I'm feeling, in a short glass.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And they get it so often, normally for other reasons, I'm sure. But just put it in a short glass. Ice and a slice.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's my little trick occasionally. I've just let it out now to the whole. Right, I'll never get away with that one again. For me, I think a positive actually is I've got quite a busy work schedule. Often I tend to, health-wise, touch wood, I've had a very positive 12 months, but be very up and down. And actually Christmas, even though it's lots of hustle and bustle, there's always lots to do, you're kind of working right up to the last minute, I know what it's like, but actually for me it's a really nice opportunity to have a little bit of downtime. So I think actually sometimes use Christmas to actually concentrate on that little bit of you time, spending it with your loved ones, people who know you, love you, Crohn's, colitis aside, and actually use it as a little bit of time for just a bit of recuperation and a little bit of, I think, you time, because everyone knows the minute that new year starts, you know, we'll all be giving ourselves very ambitious New Year's resolutions, and it'll all be full steam ahead again. So yeah, I think actually maybe just try and use it to your real advantage.
We've had a question.
Oh.
We've had a question from Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Hi, girls. What vitamins or supplements would you recommend for people with stoma?
Okay.
Can you recommend?
Yeah, okay, so for me, and this is lots of trial and error actually, because through being poorly I've struggled quite often with strong nails, hair, skin, those sorts of things, very general kind of, I'd say, women well-being things really. Secondary to this, I'm also shocking at taking tablets, which obviously isn't great.
Me too.
And I have found a lot of kind of off-the-shelf, high street multivitamins quite hard going. So to be honest with you, I've never really persevered that well. So I actually really rate greens powder, and greens powder you can get it from, you know, the likes of Holland and Barrett, kind of health shops, also lots of online supplement stores. It's really handy if you're already using maybe taking smoothies because you're not very good at fruit, or even if you just want to mix it with water. I know some people that do it, you know, as a real short and just get rid of it. It's not the most pleasant taste, but equally you can kind of disguise it quite well. So I would definitely take a look at looking at some multivitamin, or if not greens powders, because they're quite a good way of sneaking it in, and most of the digestion's done for you. But you will get green output.
Nice.
Why do you need more? Why do you need specific vitamins if you've got a stoma? What is their part?
So strictly speaking, depending on if you have an ileostomy or colostomy, of course everybody is totally different. Really, quite often people are as well as they've ever been. So actually, they probably need it less than ever. For me, it was purely being quite into health and fitness, supplements, the protein world, exercising lots, just trying to make sure I was kind of at my A game. I really need them no more or less personally than, you know, the average Joe. I'd like to think.
That's what I was wondering, because I know I've mentioned before that I've seen the IBD specialist dietitian, Lucy, who's coming to our AGM, actually, which I'm sure we're going to mention. Meet the Medics later. So I'll say that again completely. On the 4th of November, we have our dietitian, our IBD specialist dietitian, Lucy, coming to Meet the Medics at Woolwell Centre at 10:30. You know, on the news, when you know that they've got someone speaking in their ear and you wonder what that must be like. This is what it's like. And she put me on all kinds of weird and wonderful... So basically she did a blood test and she tested what I was deficient in. And she gives me specific vitamins, which are then prescribed by my GP until the next time I saw her. And I have to say, I'm probably the opposite end of the health and fitness spectrum to you. I really felt well on it, actually, and I never thought that like vitamins and minerals would make that much difference to me, but actually because I think it was so targeted, I could really feel that I was in better shape than just randomly.
There was a couple that I've tried, one of those being just like you, China. I am absolutely horrendous at taking tablets. Sometimes I even have to chop a paracetamol up in half. So I mean, we're talking proper appalling here. And the two things that I found quite good is Complan.
Okay.
Making it up with I make it up with lacto-free milk sometimes. That's got loads of vitamins and minerals in it, and you can even disguise it with like Nesquik milkshake and stuff.
That's a good idea.
Or like, you know, Crusher or whatever, you know, whatever you fancy. It just makes up into like a milky powder, so it's like having a milkshake. Once you've made it up, it tastes just lovely, to be honest. Once you put in a bit of powder, that's really, really nice. So that's one that you can just grab at any old place, really. I know Superdrug do it in Boots and, you know, all sorts of places. So that's a good one to look for. And the other one is Bassett's multivitamin chewable ones. I know they did children's ones up to the age of 14, but then they brought out an adult version. Pomegranate, I think it was, something like that, raspberry and pomegranate, but actually it was really, really nice. And they literally look like wine gums in a little blister pack. Little, it's quite a big blister pack. All individually done. You just pop them out and chew them.
I think we should do a cook with IBD
I
live.
love them.
We have had
Really
a commenting of somebody from Stephen who says, I seem to recall an old doctor of mine from 1989 when I was first diagnosed with Crohn's who recommended taking some of the vitamin supplements with gin or vodka. We'll drink to that.
Yeah, that's
Cheers to that.
That's
Well
going to
done,
make
Stephen.
anyone feel better.
I want that consultant.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen. I want that consultant. Definitely. Have a drink for thought.
It's true though, isn't it? Because out there's so many kind of, products now, and they are products that are so commercialised and dressed up to be something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't be. I'm not saying the gin in all of that. Actually, sometimes thinking, what would the caveman diet? Lots of people swear by it. What would the caveman have done right now? And actually stripping things back.
Yeah,
Could I mention something which I saw on the Crohn's and Colitis UK Facebook page while we're just talking about like potions and stuff? That apparently there's a big consultation at the moment about making things like Imodium not available on the NHS, so you can't even pay for a prescription with it, and that's what they're talking about. There's obviously a list of other prescriptions, but I've had 2 rather large parts of my bowel removed, so I live on Imodium, literally, and that would have a huge impact on my life. And I don't know about other people, not just Imodium. There were basically they were saying low cost medicines, and I haven't bought it for years because I get it. I have like a prepaid prescription thing because I think we should get free prescriptions. But if the idea is we get free prescriptions and then all the stuff that we're on all the time isn't prescribed anymore, then that would be pretty hideous. So there is a consultation at the moment, and there's people at head office, so if it would affect you, so I've emailed them to say I'd be happy to be a case study of someone it would really affect, but please look out for that consultation and please support.
I don't know, is that specifically Imodium or is that loperamide as a
Loperamide and Imodium,
I think it was
just
part
for the
of
difference.
paracetamol.
Just for the difference,
Everything's paracetamol.
Imodium is the brand name and
Yes.
loperamide is the drug.
Yeah.
Just for people who are not too sure about that, it's just, it's like Calpol. The whole idea between Imodium and, it's the name of it rather than...
Can we just chat about, you mentioned that you get free prescriptions.
I don't. But
Oh, sorry. Can you explain that a little bit more? 'Cause
So I am on. I have more than one prescription a month. So if you have more than one prescription a month, you can get a prepay certificate where basically I pay for my prescriptions by direct debit. So I think I pay £9 a month or whatever, or £10 a month, and I can get as many prescriptions as I need for that £10. So basically, it's on the back of the thing. So I just click that I've got a prepayment certificate. So that makes a huge difference to me because as I'm sure lots of people here know, suddenly you're on like one a month or something, and then suddenly you go and you're really ill and you're on like 5 different pills, all of which cost lots of money, and you find yourself spend 30 quid on prescription suddenly. So I have an annual prepayment thing. I pay by direct debit every month, and I find it rubs a little bit because obviously I think I should get it free because I'm chronically ill, but I think it's the best way forward.
You can also do it on a 3-monthly.
Yes, you don't have to do it on a year.
So if it's not, if you're having sort of a bad time at the moment and it looks like it's sort of a short course, but it's going to be a lot of medicine, then you can do a 3-month one.
And you can backdate it actually, and go and get money refunded or something. Like basically, you can say, "Oh my god, I've just been prescribed 4 things. I need them today." So you can tick it on the back of the form saying I've got a prepayment thing, and as long as when you take it out, you backdate it. Obviously, you can't do it like months later, but if you do it like in the next couple of days, then that'd be okay. So if you suddenly think, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to need to get a 3-month one," you can do it that way as well. That's legal.
Or you can be old. One of the few things you now still get free when you're over 60 is prescription.
You can't see Shaz, but mention that. I'm kidding. Sorry, Shaz. So you're bragging about having free prescription.
Equally with a stoma, you are exempt.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Well, talking about stomas, we have another question. Oh, but very briefly, before you go on to that question, Stephen did come back and say one of his go-to drinks is Bovril. Lots of vitamins,
I'd
nice
rather
and
have
tasty,
gin.
nice and warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we all prefer the vodka and gin option. Anyway, question about
No,
stomas.
that's a really good point though. Bone broth. I think lots of people swear by bone broth for digestion, but on an empty tummy in the morning. So I suppose that's a similar
Oh, right.
sort of.
Really?
It's a big thing.
It's a
I've
very
never
big
heard of
thing in
bone
Australia, actually.
So a question we've had, Drew, was I may have to have a stoma. I'd love to hear from someone who has been through this. Anything positive or something that maybe you wish you'd known beforehand, that you've learnt through having a stoma?
Okay. I spoke to lots of people. In my case, I totally wanted to avoid the situation at all costs, like I think a lot of people do. However, the decision was taken out of my hands after running out of options, if so to say. So I spoke to lots of people trying to prepare myself. Really couldn't get my head around it. Never thought, just couldn't really get to grips with it. Hated the idea of it. And then I spoke to one lady, and I always swore that, and maybe she might be watching, Tammy, but I spoke to one lady who was so honest with me. I swore that if anyone ever asked me for advice, I would be just as honest. And Tammy, bless her, told me how hard it was going to be. And that is honestly the best advice I can give you. And that sucks, and it's rubbish, and it's not what you want to hear. But I don't think there's any point kind of shining it up. There's an awful lot to get your head around. I still hate the fact that it's there, but only in hindsight can I appreciate how much healthier it's made me. In having kind of the very odd day now of ill health shocks me more because it upsets me that used to be my normality. So it's only now that I'm starting to appreciate it, I'd say. I don't love it. Really wish I didn't have to have it. But, it ultimately saved my life. It sounds dramatic. But it's only now that I can look back. But it is tough. It is really tough. But what I would say is there's lots of, if you're quite active on Facebook, there are lots of communities. Kathy, the IBD nurses were very good at putting me in touch with someone who was in a similar situation to me, and also knew me as a person. So knew that I was not ready to be, hear how lovely it was all going to be. So definitely I'd say, feel free to, be active on our Facebook page, do look out for other people with stoma. Quite often we'll get some comments or conversation between people. Speak to your IBD nurse, because if they know you as best as you possibly can as a person, then they should put you in touch with someone they think is really going to help you and connect with you, which definitely was helpful in my case. So I'm sorry, that was not positive advice.
But the other thing I would say also is don't count your chickens.
Absolutely.
You. For a lot of people, a stoma is kind of like, you hear that mentioned and all the other options, because it was mentioned to me, I don't have a stoma. When I had my first bowel operation, I was told there was a 50-50 chance that I would wake up with a stoma. And I know the horror that I was like, oh my god, but I woke up and I didn't have to have it. And actually now, the Crohn's I have, I couldn't have a stoma. If I did have a stoma, it wouldn't cure me anyway. So there's both sides of the coin. That it might not be the right thing for you anyway. And it also might never happen. You might have a miracle drug that works for you and makes you well for 30 years. That really can happen. And there are people that's happened to. I mean, obviously, we are very, active in the Crohn's and Colitis community, but we hear people that come up to us that are really, really well, that walk up to us and go, oh yeah, I had Crohn's disease or I had colitis. And it's like, well, that's, you do still have it, but, it's not flaring, which is great.
And there's so much stuff in research currently, I was on kind of trials before, all that happened. Like, just don't give up hope. And, if, you will definitely, make the best situation of whatever pans out for you. But just fingers crossed for you. If it does happen, there's so many people that are going to be here to help.
Well, yes, we wanted you had a question that came to you, China, about contacting the council, because we've done something similar with Drake Circus recently.
Yeah, does anyone want to talk about Drake Circus?
I don't really know a lot about
Okay.
it, other than what's been on the Facebook page, really.
Sorry, I just feel I'm chatting a lot at you.
That's all right.
So
It's the China
recently,
show.
yeah, right. We were approached by
Yeah.
a lady who had attempted to get the not every disability is visible signs put up in our local shopping mall in Plymouth, Drake Circus. And this week we had the really great news that through some support of the local network, in particular one of our chair members, that they had approved the request. So that's really positive news.
Fabulous.
We have had since some contact from some local members and members of the charity and sufferers about local sites across Devon and Cornwall, particularly beaches, who either request a charge to use disabled toilets despite having a radar key, and the most, I suppose the majority of the year, they're also out of order. So, you know, from your guys' position, we need your kind of ears on the ground out there, letting us know that this is going on, because we can help you and we can support you. To, of course, do so, don't hesitate to give us a message into our page. If you send any messages to the local authorities, I suppose our first bit of advice would be to find out who the local authority are. If you'd like to contact them yourself, do feel free, but let us know you've done so, because we will also send a supporting letter.
Yes.
And I think that it makes me so angry. I'm kind of like, it just makes me so angry that we kind of say to people, this isn't the end of your life. You just have to change certain things about it and you can live a rich and fulfilling life. But things like knowing that there's a toilet and that it's going to work, that really deals with your anxiety, doesn't it? That just kind of makes you think, I know there's toilets at that beach. You don't think to yourself, I'm going to have to pay, or they're out of order, or just to speak positively, I think it was a Cornwall council, didn't you say?
Correct, yeah.
And I think one of our former chairwomen, Bobby Hooper-Bennett, she said this a few years ago, that in Cornwall they were closing down some beach toilets and mentioned it to us. But I spent a lot of time at Bigbury Beach, actually. We have a van, and so we go down there and kind of like barbecue in the evening, and their toilets are open, even though the lights go out, they're open really, really late. So it looks like they're closed, which is great, because, you know, it doesn't get vandalised and stuff, but they're open really late, and I find that really great. I can go out, I can be at the beach for the evening, and I'm not sat there worrying, oh, well, I need to be near. Yeah, I'm not drinking. Don't believe in it. Excuse me. But I can relax with my friends at the beach.
No, absolutely.
So maybe Devon are a better local authority for that than Cornwall, maybe.
But let us know.
Yeah, the local beach that I go to down in Cornwall, it's 20p unless we prop the door open.
So they charge us extra for having going
So I don't know what they'll do next year with us keeping the door open most of this summer.
No.
So buy a wedge. Keep the door open.
But yeah, don't hesitate to, we really rely on you guys being quite positive advocates for, I suppose, rights. So don't hesitate to reach out and let us know, because we will support you.
Absolutely.
And perhaps also, on the other hand, if there are some really, really good beaches,
Yeah.
can you let us know, and then we'll post it so that everybody is more aware of actually some really supportive places that we can go.
You put the door open in the labs to your beach. But it'd be really nice to write positive letters to the council, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Say thanks,
Yeah,
or you know, people with Crohn's colitis feel really supported by you.
That's right. 5 minutes, Okay. We've had a question, probably the last one we'll manage to get in tonight. I'm struggling to do my coursework as I don't have a laptop, and my IBD is stopping me getting into uni to use the laptops and PCs there. What can I do?
Well, you I don't know if you've got Crohn's or colitis, but you would register under the Disability Act, and you need to go and see the people who do access arrangements at your university, and you will be amazed at what you are eligible for. You will probably be eligible for things like toilet breaks during your exams. You will be, and universities have a lot of money to help people access education, and like a lot more money than schools or colleges. and it is in their interest to support you, and they would be horrified to know that you are that you are really, really struggling. I have seen people be given laptops, been given bursaries, been given help with their bills, for, you know, because they've got excess water and things like that, clothing grants, you know, this is why we, you know, this is why we support this charity, because it's also something that they've advocated for as well. So I can guarantee you that there is support for you. Please go and see your welfare people at university, and they will fix this for you. Do it tomorrow, please. Don't feel bad, don't feel embarrassed.
Despite the fact I didn't go to university, I went and visited lots of universities, and being diagnosed very early on, you kind of know what you need at that point. And I will name the university because they were absolutely incredible. And bearing in mind this was only a show around, I hadn't applied for that, I hadn't done anything. Edgehill University in Ormskirk, they were absolutely fantastic. They told me that I would be eligible to stay in halls of residence for all 3 years that I was at uni. I would be allowed to have someone who would go into my lectures, record my lectures, come back and give them to me if I could not get out of bed. I had an and bearing in mind I was only going there for a little bit of info, and they showed me what lecture hall it's quite a small uni, but they showed me the lecture hall that it would definitely be in. So they also showed me all of the possible halls of residence, and I would have a pick of which kind of floor I would need to be on, depending on how my joints were. It was absolutely amazing just to know. And I came away from that, you know, bearing in mind that's sort of 9 hours away, but it's the place that I thought was going to be giving me the best course. I came away feeling absolutely amazing from it, and just knowing that they even said that they, obviously the local hospital for there is Liverpool Hospital, and so all of my IBD, sort of my notes would have to be transferred. So, but they said they have had people who, you know, are quite easily transferred. And on the utmost that I thought was amazing was if I needed to come home, I could have all of my lectures live streamed back to me in my house from the lecture hall.
Amazing.
So if that was needed, I felt that I was totally covered, and I felt really, really good coming away from that. So definitely what Hannah said, go and see your sort of disability people that are there, and don't be ashamed about it either.
No,
don't be ashamed about it. They are so amazing, and they will sit down with you and they will just lay it out as to what you need, and they will sit down and listen to you, because some people with IBD, they're going to need some things, but sometimes you need a little bit more. Yeah. Or you need a little bit less, and they will work to that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just want to mention the grants that also the charity provides. And I don't know if we're getting quite a lot of interest. Did we just want to continue for 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, we've got a question.
We'll carry on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's got another question as well.
Oh, fabulous.
And Stephen has also said he got to sit all his exams in the medical centre of his university, which was a much more relaxed place to do that.
I would say talk to your lecturers and your form tutors, because they are human. So don't hesitate. So Crohn's and Colitis UK do provide some grants. They have 2 kinds of grants, and I'm just going to take a look down so I get it right. They do personal grants, but also educational and vocational grants, up to £1,000, or a personal grant up to £500. Those can be covered, used for washing machines, beddings, but also, the educational ones for books, laptops, etc. So if you go onto the CC UK website and search for grants, you'll get all the details of those. Plug.
We have, I don't know what university you go to, whatever your name is, but we have a contact in the union at Plymouth University, and they're not specifically in the welfare department, but if you would rather approach us and say, I'm a bit embarrassed to go in, please tell us, because I know that our contact would put us in touch with the right people so we can help you. We do not want you sat in your room worrying, being ill, and worrying about your studies as well. So don't do that. Get in touch with someone.
Perfect. Good luck.
We just had a message, I'm not really sure how we can answer this, from Abby. Hi Abby. Hello girls, I have Crohn's disease. As you know, this week I've caught a really nasty cold, and I've also caught a sickness bug, and my tummy is sensitive right now. Any suggestions on things to drink that aren't too irritating on the gut? I'm not sure.
Probably not wine.
Lemonade.
Really?
Lemonade. Honestly, I found it the best thing when I'm feeling.
We're not medical, so
very-
it's just going on.
Yeah, this is just my personal opinion. When I'm really, really poorly, bless them, the lemonade companies get a good old chunk of my money. I find it, whether you want to leave it flat, because sometimes I can't deal with sort of it being carbonated, so I'll just take the, pour a glass and leave, or pour a couple of glasses and leave them in the fridge, let them, lose their bubbles and stuff. But actually, it really does help to settle my stomach. And that's personal. I know people who would say the same about like Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
They do the same with that. But personally, for me, it's lemonade. It really does help to just settle me down. I quite like it.
I have a secret between me and my dentist, which is that whenever I am very ill or have been very ill, I basically just eat sweets. I totally binge on sweets, and I wonder if the lemonade is part of that as well. Like, not diet stuff. Don't have diet stuff because that's like it's got loads of saccharin and stuff in it. You want like pure sugar.
Yeah.
So basically, not only does it give me like food energy, so I've kind of like I've got some get up and go, but it also makes me feel like I've eaten something, even though kind of like it totally bypasses and turns into sugar and fat. But as you know, when you're ill, you need to keep your calories up anyway. But I do have, basically, because I do this when I'm really ill, my dentist, I have a special toothpaste for people that eat too many sweets. So don't feel bad if you've got to, if that's how you get through whatever your thing is.
Yours sounds so much more exciting than my lemonade and rice.
I know, but I've basically made it sound really exciting. Basically, I eat too many sweets and my dentist tells me off. And so he gives me special stuff. But I don't pay for the prescription because I've got my plan.
I think if you're losing lots and you're feeling dehydrated, got a head on you, I was told a trick by one of our local consultants actually, Haywood, who I think is also attending our AGM.
So
good. That's on the 4th of November at the Cornwall Centre.
You said it so much better than me.
So if I always struggled with the likes of Diarrhelite in those sorts of brands, but Coca-Cola with salt. If you mix it, it takes all the bubbles out, and actually it's the salts and the isotopes and things that are really, really good for hydrating you again. We mentioned bone broth earlier.
There's faces
really
going on there.
Yeah, you do what you've got to do if you feel that rubbish. But don't hesitate. A good kind of bit of comfort.
We're not medical.
Yeah,
we are not medically trained. This is just what we do.
Personal,
which is probably the opposite.
Just try something that you can stomach. At the end of the day, if you feel
whatever works for you.
If you feel like you can stomach a little bit of whatever, give it a go. So, got nothing to lose.
And you will feel better. That's like when you're in it in that moment, you feel like that's the end of the world, but you will feel better soon. And we hope you feel better soon, Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says thank you.
Oh, bless her. Bless her.
If you want to just plug
plug sweets.
Dickensian the evening.
Oh yeah. It'd be really good if we had these things written down. The Dickensian evening in Tavistock, one of our wonderful supportive local businesses, Karen's, is giving us a stall, and we're going to be selling mulled wine and cupcakes. And this time last year, we had never heard of it, and we had no idea what we were doing. And it is such a fun evening. Basically, the whole of the centre of Tavistock, they close it off to cars, and it's just like open street market, people in fancy dress, walking around in Victorian clothing. There was a really funny, loads of entertainers on the street, and us wandering around selling mulled wine. And we sell alcoholic mulled wine, and other people don't sell alcoholic mulled wine. They sell like grape juice with cinnamon in it, and we sell alcoholic mulled wine. Yeah, we're not. We don't just drink. We drink flat Coke normally.
Yeah.
Please come along and see us. Please come along and enjoy the Dickensian evening. It is such a good time.
So it's on the 1st of December from 4 p.m. And in light of selling alcoholic mulled wine, Karen also has some toilets.
Yes.
In light of what you said earlier, so don't panic. We'll be there.
And don't forget our Meet the Medics on the 4th of November.
4th of November at the Cornwall Centre.
10:30
till 12:30.
Where we have Chris Hayward,
IBD consultant, Therapist Hospital.
We've got Kathy Webb.
Kathy Webb,
IBD
IBD specialist nurse, normally of this panel.
Yeah.
Stoma nurses Anne-Marie and Dawn.
Stoma nurses Anne-Marie.
Dietitian Lucy Pritchard, who I've talked about many times on here actually. And obviously we'll all be there, so we're friendly, aren't we? We're really normal.
Essentially, it'd be a really great chance for you to come ask your questions to people who really know the bowel.
Oh, could you please just scroll down the page and just click follow so we can keep in touch with you and let you know when our next lives are, please, because it will make such a huge difference to us to know that these are really making a difference. So please just click down and click follow or like, that would be great. Our wonderful chairwoman is writing something down.
We're all 21st of November,
we are
Tuesday, is Facebook Live.
Is our
We are
next
back.
live.
Doing another one before Christmas. We're doing
Yes.
another one before Christmas.
So get those questions coming in. But thank you everyone for this evening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
It's
everybody.
been great to see you all. Thanks for
Bye.
participating.
Keep well.
Bye.